So, I sat down on a snowy Monday afternoon and decided, you know what, I'm somewhat of a masochist myself, why don't I watch my first horror movie? Because I get anxious and uncomfortable very easily, I decided to start with the tamest horror film I could find. I did not know how much of a trip I was in for. Misery is a 1990 psychological horror starring Katherine Bates and the late James Cain. The film follows Paul Sheldon, an author of the famous fictional book series Mystery Chastain, who wants to finally move on and begin writing new stories. He wants to begin writing for himself and not for his audience. When he is rescued from a snowy car crash in the middle of nowhere, he finds himself being nursed back to health by his number one fan, a woman named Anne Wilkes. However, when she won't let him leave until he finishes writing a book in her honor, it's up to Paul to figure out a way to escape before it's too late. This film is absolutely riveting. Because the majority of the story takes place in this small house in the middle of the woods, you feel trapped right alongside Paul as he tries to find a way to escape his captor. We follow him as he's taken in by this loving stranger and then suddenly thrown into his own personal hell, as he discovers that Anne is, in truth, a serial killer who has decided to make Paul her next victim. We feel Paul's pain right alongside him as Anne verbally and physically abuses him 1 minute and then ogles over his wounds immediately afterwards. James Cain, rest in peace, brings dry and witty humor to an otherwise horrifying and dark tale about the dangers of entitled fandom and Stockholm Syndrome. You are rooting for him throughout the entirety of the movie, even when you don't quite know what's going on. When Anne rescues Paul in the beginning of the film, she is kind and loving and fun to watch on screen. However, the moment things don't go her way, she instantly snaps and you never see it coming. The degree to which Katherine Bates is able to switch between emotions so rapidly is mortifying to watch, and yet you can't look away. The way she portrays this character has you captivated right alongside Paul Sheldon, as if you're right there with her in the room. All in all, this was a very interesting first horror film for me. It made me uncomfortable and horrified, but there were some nice breaks in tension from time to time that helped me to calm down before the worst parts of the film began. The ending of the film shows us a matured Paul who is hardened by his experience in captivity and is finally able to begin writing for himself. The film ends with a waitress claiming to be his number one fan, to which Paul meekly nods in kind. The film then abruptly cuts to credits. I liked this story, and I like Stephen King's work, and I think that this was a very heart-pounding film. My only issue is with the abrupt ending given to the movie. Would I watch it again? Maybe. Do I plan to? Not anytime soon. Not a bad film. I give it a 7 out of 10.